students, alumni, sponsors to please come inside the hall. Amit S. Amit S. Where is Amit? A call for all the students, alumni, participants, sponsors to please come inside the hall. I request everyone to please come inside the hall. Good afternoon. I request all the participants who are there near the stalls to please come and occupy the seats. ME-RIISE students, Aisha, please come and occupy the seats. Fahad. I request all the participants, alumni, sponsors, student friends to please come and occupy the seats inside the hall. Danush. We will be happy if everybody please takes their seats down and help us to start the event. Good afternoon, everyone. And here we are to another exciting event, Tech Talk, with renowned professionals across industries, across the globe, and our beloved alumni who are facilitating this for us. I request Satyesh sir to please come over the dais and kick off this event.
So this is the seating place. Hello, Becca.
ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಓಕೆ 15 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಲ್ ಕೊಡಿ 2 ನಿಮಿಷ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಹೇಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ?
ಓಕೆ
No, na recent
Good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the Tech Talk session which is going to start right away. We have a variety of, though there are only 3 speakers, we have 2 podcasts and 1 TED Talk. So without further ado, and as we are running on time scale, I would invite our first guest of the afternoon, Shri Ranganath. Please join me on the stage. This is Ranganath D. Mavinkere. Yeah. And in case you have difficulty in hearing me out, just tell me, otherwise we'll plan something. I would give you a very brief intro of Shri Ranganath and his detailed profile we are sharing with all those who are registered here on the WhatsApp, so you will get to know about our guest in detail. Shri Ranganath D. Mavinkere is an MC alumni. That's something we are very proud of. After his degree at MC, he got his master's from IIT Madras, then went on to do PG Diploma from IIM Ahmedabad. He started with ICICI Limited, where he was looking after spearheading the operations in terms of corporate credit, treasury, equity portfolio. And then 2 decades at Infosys, an organization which has shaped his thoughts and careers further. And currently he is the chairman at Catamaran Ventures. And if you all know, Catamaran Ventures is an organization started by Mr. Narayan Murthy of Infosys. And I won't run into all the details of Shri Ranganath, but I would like to tell one thing. Out of 100 engineers, 99 will end up as engineers. Probably 1% of that very, very, creative and, people who want to do something other than engineering would end up in other areas. And Ranganath, after finishing his engineering, has come into the financial services area. So I would like to actually introduce him to you as a techno-financial expert. Please give a round of applause. And this is more like a podcast, and because of the time constraints that we will have about 15 minutes of question and answer with Shri Ranganath. And we will also be giving the slips to all of you. And if you can send in your questions, at the end of the 3rd speaker on the stage, we will have all the speakers on the stage and we will read out those questions for another session of Q&A. So this is how we will plan, and I request Geeta ma'am to remind me at the end of the 15th minute, and the time starts now, not later, not earlier. So the introduction of the subject, going to talk, Mr. Ranganath is going to talk about artificial intelligence in fintech. I would allow him to explain that, but just for the benefit of the students, what is fintech, right? Fintech is all those IT solutions that are offered in the area of financial services and banking sectors. So any IT solution that's offered forms a part of the fintech. Now, because of the time, I will not go for the introduction part of it, but straight away I am coming to a question. Rangnath, it's a very, very naive question. We all say that artificial intelligence is all pervading, right? It is the future and things like that. But my stupid question to begin the conversation is, why do we call it artificial? Why do we have to call it? It should have been all pervading intelligence. So why do we even call it artificial?
So is this on? Can you all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes. No, first of all, thank you very much for hosting me today. It's great to be back with all the friends, and I also made a lot of connects with former Infoscions in this team. It's great to be here. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to be with you. But an interesting question. You know, I believe Marvin Minsky, all the way back in 1950s, started this term called artificial intelligence. I think as the computers start taking shape in our day-to-day life, those days, of course, still early, only organizations, mainframe, there was some kind of a vision saying that, look, someday the computers will be able to mimic our intelligence as close as possible, so that bulk of the tasks that the humans do, they can do independently. I think that's broadly the Marvin Minsky days, all the way going back to 50s. I think just a nomenclature.
That's it. Yeah, so the next obvious question that comes to my mind is, we are talking about artificial intelligence in fintech. Before we delve into that, I want to understand from you, what was fintech before AI came into the picture? So 30 years back, AI has been there around for 2-3 decades, but before AI stepped into fintech, how was fintech looking like?
Yeah. No, I think if you look at when the computers came all the way 50s, 60s, one of the earliest industries to adopt computers was banking, insurance, because they had a lot of frequent transactions and a large customer base. So they invested a lot in technology and kind of adopted computers in their business processes. But I think internet change in 2000 was a big shift, where while the banks still then had adopted computers for the back end, the front end was still not with the customers as much. So I think the internet changed that. I think millions of people got the front end for the financial applications, right? Today we have all the banking app. I think what AI has done essentially is to give the banks a power to profile the customers, right? Which customer is probably more credit worthy, less credit worthy, much faster. And when a person comes into an app or to a branch, it is able to kind of synthesize the information about the customer, saying that, hey, what are the other products I can sell to this person? Cross-selling. And more importantly, I think the risk management is where most of the work on artificial intelligence has been. I think it has significantly changed the user experience. It has significantly changed the way the financial companies, whether it is a bank or an insurance company, is able to profile very quickly and offer the right product and services. So today what's happened is most of the financial products are very competitive. The differentiation is very less. If you go to a house loan, it's a very standardized product, right? Yeah. It is some interest rate, some security, some repayment schedule. But I think artificial intelligence is kind of providing better tools for the banks to differentiate themselves in front of the customer and kind of make it more contextual, right? If somebody is buying a home, then they'll all start selling some of the furniture loan products, right? Yeah. And if they got a big bonus, they'll start selling car loan products. So I think that contextual ability is certainly better.
Yeah. So AI has brought a plethora of opportunities which probably a naked eye was not able to explore without that. Great. The obvious question now that comes to me is, what is that one thing that artificial intelligence has brought into fintech, that fintech wakes up and says, wow, artificial intelligence has arrived? What is that one mega change that it has brought?
I think, one clear thing is to how can it design a product, right? Today, still the human intelligence is required to design a product. I know many of you, I'm sure the youngsters will appreciate this. You know the hottest selling product for a bank today? It is not car loan, it is not the regular loan. It is a bungee jumping loan in New Zealand.
Wow.
That is the hottest selling product because when
I think you got to repeat it again for.
so many of the youngsters they are in a different, mindset. They don't want to acquire assets now, car, house. They all want to kind of have an experiential kind of, life, not asset acquisition life like our generation. So they are taking loans for bungee jumping in New Zealand. They want loans for the airfare, the hotels, and the actual bungee jumping. And they are taking loans, 3 lakhs, 4
And
lakhs.
these are insurance loans or loans just to go and jump?
Just to jump. They're unsecured loans. So to answer your question, how can artificial intelligence spot these social opportunities and come out with new products? I think that's the ultimate dream.
Ultimate dream. So if we fast forward from last 30 years to what AI did in terms of data processing and stuff like that, and come to the current where it's even, providing bungee jumping loans, I think my next obvious question that comes to my mind is what is in store in fintech as far as AI is concerned in the next 3 to 5 years? I'm telling 3 to 5 years because 30 years is okay, but rate of change of technology is so fast. So in the next 3 years, what do you see AI impacting fintech in terms of?
Right. I think already we have begun to see a lot of stuff which probably as a end user we may not be able to see. Because when you use a banking app, already in the back end, there is an engine trying to profile you. What are you clicking? What is your bank balance? How have you been spending your credit card? There is an active profiling that has already started taking place. I think that is going to intensify further. And I think you don't need a banker, right? It will kind of say that, look, based on the spending pattern, your interest, what kind of buying, what kind of books you're buying, what are you doing on Amazon, what are you doing on YouTube, what are you doing on Instagram. It is going to construct certain products for you on your own. For example, if somebody is a stock broking and the investments have increased, suddenly it will start offering a service of research, equity research, right? And the risk management products. If somebody is increasingly buying the gold products, it may offer a gold sovereign bond, right? So those kind of customization is probably a lighter word, much more contextualizing what the person wants and stitching a very unique product for that person. Yeah. That's not far away. That's not far away.
So we very near future.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about banking and financial institutions, another thing that bothers all of us here, especially the oldies like me, who are not very computer savvy, is about the hackers of the world. People who do data thefts and so on and so forth. Will AI help stop this to an extent, or will AI open up new doors for hackers to get into fintech?
No, that's a great question. AI is going to help both the hackers as well as the hacked, right? It does not differentiate between the two.
Doesn't differentiate.
So, so I think, yes, you're right. The what a human being could find out the possibilities of hacking, find the faults in the network, find the faults in security or in the apps. AI is going to do maybe 1,000 times faster. I think that's here to stay. But the good news is, even as a defense mechanism, AI is going to kind of provide a much more power to the protected, But it's still, we have yet to see, right? Today for AI, it's very easy to have a million attacks over 1 minute. It's not difficult instead of, somebody trying to code. But at the same time, I think a lot of new, Apple has launched, as all of us know, the new feature, lockdown feature. that lockdown feature, that app phone all of us have now, is kind of an AI-based cybersecurity protection.
Okay.
So it's still early days, but I'm sure over the next 5 years, there'll be much more rigorous AI usage in cyber protection.
Another societal-based question that I have is that, I remember in the 1980s when computerization in its very native state entered banking industry, everybody were afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, but nothing happened like that. Will advent of AI into this financial world, what are the concerns that people have? Is it true? Is it wrong? If you can just throw a little bit of light on that.
Yeah. Now, I know both of us lived through the railway computerization, right? So when it came, there were protests saying that, look, it is going to take away job, don't computerize the railway reservation system.
Correct.
Similarly, as you rightly pointed out, when computers were introduced in banks, all the bank employees had strikes saying that don't introduce computers, it's going to take away our jobs. I think what has happened is, yes, it may have taken some part of the jobs, but at the same time, it has elevated the work profile of the people. It is now a productivity tool rather than totally eliminating the job. Some jobs will certainly go, but similarly in AI, I think it will enhance the individual productivity and reduce the tiredness, what you call repetitive task, which can bring down the morale. I think it will bring down that and help the individual in improving productivity. But at the same time, I have to say that repetitive tasks with much of value addition by an individual, those are going to go away.
Another standard, a thumb rule or a barometer we have of judging a technology is how inexpensive it becomes.
Yeah.
Is introduction of AI in fintech still a very costly affair, or is it something that the banks and the other organizations can look at introducing right away, or they are waiting for the cost to come down? Just some perspective of that.
No, as you know, I think today the AI investment is shifted from software to hardware.
Oh,
right?
really?
Because the GPUs, all the NVIDIA, thing. Now, people are saying that, look, unlike the internet revolution where it was predominantly led by the software and the front end and the apps, right? That's where bulk of the investment went. Yes, there was some investment in the back end servers, cloud, but today, I think people are grabbing the hardware, who can lay hand on the GPUs faster and more computing power faster, who can release faster. That has become the main focus than the apps. So I think that is requiring huge investment. And today, because of the mismatch between the supply and the demand, now NVIDIA probably is the only supplier today of the GPUs. There are months of queue to, it's like a rationing of software, hardware. So I think, I would say next 3 to 4 years, unless other chip makers, whether it is ARM, whether it is Intel, come out with very competitive products as powerful as NVIDIA's ARM, NVIDIA's GPUs, the investments is going to be high. And banks or all companies will have to spend a lot of money.
So one last question is, we have all the engineering students here sitting. What would be your advice if you want them to look at fintech as an option? Is their current engineering graduation going to help them? Do they have to look something beyond that? Some very specialized courses or certifications to be done? Because you are the best role model as far as I see in this. So some final passing tips from you for all the students here.
No, I think the financial literacy is now as good as learning a language, right? Financial literacy is important for everybody. But more specific to your question, yes, I think today a lot of engineering talent is required in fintech, right? To design the software, even the hardware talent is required. Even the UI UI talent is required. But I think I encourage all the engineering students, irrespective of their branches, to take a lot of free courses that are available on YouTube on finance. For example, MIT offers, NYU offers, even in India, there are a lot. I am Bangalore, on which board I sit. It also offers a lot of free finance courses, which are really top-notch, world-class courses. So I think it's important to have financial literacy, whether we want to take up a job in fintech or not. So I think today, compared to our era, the ability and to access knowledge, world-class knowledge, really top-notch knowledge, is very easy and pretty much free. It's only the time that one has to invest in kind of going through that.
So with those words of wisdom from Mr. Ranganath, I think we can come to the end of the session. I know the time is very less, but I hope the students here have got some perspective about AI and its applications in the fintech world. Please write down your questions in the slips and let's have it so that when we call back Mr. Ranganath on the stage again, we will be able to pass on those questions to him. And also, all the three speakers of today, they have volunteered with a very kind heart to say that after 3:30 also they will be available for any students to pick their minds and get into some more questions. So please use that opportunity, and I think, Ranganath, it was my pleasure to be talking to you, and we look forward to more of your association with Malnad College of Engineering and all our events. Thanks a million. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Great set of questions. Look forward to kind of reading your poems.
Oh, thank you.
Poems,
thank you so
and really look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
A round of
really
applause
wonderful.
for Mr. Ranganath, please.
Please stay on
Yeah,
stage.
please.
Just a minute. I request Dr. A.J. Krishnaya, Principal, Malnad College of Engineering, to felicitate MD Ranganath. It's an honor for us to have you here with us today, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be there. Center. Bunny.
Guys, a big round of applause to this fantastic personality.
Come, sir. Satya.
Bunny, Satya.
Bunny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure. I'll just thank you.
Satyan? Huh?
Sorry?
इसके मुक्ति. Okay. So I can try. So we now move to the second chapter of the afternoon events. It's going to be a TED Talk. And we have a very eminent personality with us, Dr. S.K. Murthy.
Hello, sir.
I would take the whole day to share with you all the qualifications that Dr. S.K. Murthy has had, but just to take a pinch of it and highlight, he's an engineer, BE, then he did his master's, ME. It's very interesting the way people take a turn, right? After ME, he came and did his LLB, Bachelor of Law. Then he joined the National Law School and pursued his doctoral thesis, PhD there. And while doing his ME, he has been a gold medalist. So absolutely, I should say that, a profile that, makes all of us wonder as to how somebody can acquire so many varied and multiple degrees and things. So I would like last time, the last session we had Mr. Ranganath, who was a technocrat excelling in fintech. We have Dr. S.K. Murthy, a technocrat who has excelled himself as a legal expert. He started his career with TVS Electronics, Tumkur. He was in manufacturing. Then he joined Narain Tapetta law firm in Bangalore, where he spearheaded their initiatives in the field of patent law. And currently he is the director at Intel India, IP. Of course, IP is not industrial productions, it's intellectual property. So he's director of IP, and his forte has been corporate governance, innovations, IP in technology and industry. Why I find this TED Talk by Dr. Murthy very interesting is because a lot of students of engineering, I welcome to join in.
Thank you, sir.
The most interesting part is a lot of students know a lot about engineering, lot about other things, but when it comes to patents, IP, they are left for wondering what they are. So your session, sir, will be very interesting for all the students here. I hand over the stage to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very
so
much. 15 minutes.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. It says Patent Council at Intel India. When I gave the resume to the organizers, it was probably 20 days back or so. The status has changed. I left Intel to start my own firm, law firm. So I'm an entrepreneur and I have a law firm of my own. Okay. So with that, few things. When it comes to intellectual property, and when we enter the room and start talking about intellectual property, I would not be surprised if I see blank faces, most of the times, right? Because intellectual property is not a very well understood subject in India. That does not mean that we were not aware of intellectual property, concept of intellectual property at all. We were definitely aware of the concepts of intellectual property way back, much ahead of when the world knew about intellectual property. But what we are not comfortable as a country is the processes of intellectual property. How do we go get the protection? All these things are new to us, but the concepts are already ingrained in us. Why do I say so? If we look at one of the flavors of intellectual property, copyright is one of the flavors of intellectual property. And the central theme or the central idea of copyrights is your work should be original, right? And it has to have an authorship and recognition of authorship. And if you look at recognition of authorship, India was at the forefront of recognizing authors. Tyagaraja Kirtanas, when we say, we already have recognition to the authors already. So these concepts are not new to us. Only processes are new to us. And when we talk about intellectual property, there is no need for us to have fears, uncertainties, and doubts. So from that perspective, today I would like to talk about some basics of intellectual property, different flavors of intellectual property, and what are the corresponding rights associated with intellectual property, so that we have some basic understanding about intellectual property. Okay? So if you look at intellectual property, it can be defined or understood as a creative output of the mind. If there is some creative output of the mind, that can be at a very, very high level called as or referred to as intellectual property. There are different flavors of intellectual property, right? We could have inventions, we could have literary, artistic, dramatic works, we could have marks, we could have trade secrets, we could have geographical indication, all those things. On one side, we have a list of things that can be classified as creative output of the mind. But if there is a corresponding right that is given by the state for each of this intellectual property, those rights are called intellectual property rights. So two things that need to be clear. One is intellectual property. When I talk about intellectual property and specifically about invention, it could be a fantastic video compression algorithm, right? It could be a fantastic AI algorithm to do fintech, for example. So these are inventions. And when I come up with a video compression algorithm, and if I use a particular computer language to write it in a new way, that is possibly protected by copyrights too. So there is also some overlap between this intellectual property. Now, if we look at the corresponding intellectual property rights, if an invention satisfies certain criteria, I'll talk about the criteria in a minute. If it satisfies certain criteria, then the state, which means the government, has to give a corresponding right to it. So if an invention is protected under patent law of this country, then a patent is granted to such an invention. Okay? Similarly, artistic, literary and dramatic works and computer programs can be protected under copyrights, and the logos, the marks, the captions, all these things can be protected by trademarks, right? And if you have come up with an innovation and if you don't want to disclose to the world for obvious reasons, then it can be maintained as trade secrets as well. Okay? Now, since we have only 12-13 minutes, let me focus on patents, right? Which is more important from an engineering perspective. If you look at patents, as I already said, it's a right granted to an invention which satisfies a particular criteria. Now let us look at what the criteria is and try to understand what this means to us. An invention, if it has to be patentable, it has to satisfy three things. One is, it has to be new, it has to have utility, and it should be a non-obvious invention, right? What it means is, there is a standard for all these things. When I say something new, it has to be new as compared to something which is already known to the world. Just to illustrate it, let us put everything that is known to the world today into this bottle, okay? Let us put everything that is known to the world today into this bottle, and if I say my invention has to be new, my invention has to be outside this bottle as compared to something which is already inside the bottle, right? So that is novelty or newness. But the wisdom of the legislature was not to grant patents only based on novelty, because if you grant patents only based on novelty, somebody can take what is already inside this bottle, make some cosmetic changes so that it falls outside the bottle, and once you have a patent, it comes with legal rights. It's a bundle of legal rights, and you can go enforce it. So if there is a cosmetic modification and if a patent is granted, many of us would end up in the courts trying to defend our patent rights. So what the legislature in its wisdom did is, definitely it has to be outside the bucket, but it should also be at a particular distance, which is a measure of inventiveness, right? So second concept is inventiveness or non-obviousness, and it should not be obvious to a person of ordinary skill in the art. That is the second requirement. And the third one is, it should have a use which is not contrary to the public order, right? You might come up with a fantastic invention which could be inventive, but if it is harmful to the society, then a patent would not be granted for such inventions. Okay, so three things I would repeat. It should be novel, which is outside this bottle. It should also be at a particular distance from the bottle, which talks about non-obviousness, or in Indian parlance, it is inventive step, and then it should have a use which should not be contrary to the public order. So this is the criteria for patentability. So if you come up with an invention and if it satisfies these three conditions, then the patent office has to grant you a patent right. Once the patent is granted, the life of a patent is 20 years from the date of filing, and most of the intellectual property rights come with a time period, right? It has a shelf life, and patents come with a life period of 20 years from the date of filing, not from the date of grant. So if you get a patent, what is it that you get, right? If you get a patent, you get a right to stop others. Please pay attention to the word stop others. A patent gives you a right to stop others from making, using, selling, offering to sell, and importing the patented invention. I don't expect you to remember all these 5 things, but what you need to remember is, a patent gives you a right to stop somebody, right? I'll give you an example. Before I give you an example, I would also want to say this. If you get a patent, it does not mean that you can necessarily practice your own patents, necessarily practice your own inventions. It's counterintuitive, right? I came up with this invention, I got a patent on it, and why is it that I cannot use it, right? It is for this reason. I'll give you an example so that it makes it very clear. Let us say a company was incorporated in the year 2000, and it started manufacturing combustion engines, right? It started manufacturing combustion engines, and this company A already has a patent on combustion engines. In 2003, an individual scientist took the carburetor in this combustion engine and he modified the carburetor so that this carburetor also works on gasoline, right? He went to the patent office, it satisfied the criteria for patentability, and a patent was granted. Now, can A continue to manufacture combustion engines? What do you think? The answer is yes. Company A can continue to manufacture combustion engines. But can company A manufacture gasoline combustion engines without seeking permission from B? The answer is no. These are some of the things that A can do. Let us see what B can do. B has a patent right on gasoline combustion engines. Can B manufacture gasoline combustion engines? No, because the base foundation technology is owned by A. So if B has to manufacture gasoline combustion engines, he has to have a right or license from A. Then only it is possible to manufacture. So even though B had a patent on gasoline combustion engines, B could not manufacture gasoline combustion engines because the foundational technology was already owned by somebody. There was a patent by A. But if A starts manufacturing gasoline combustion engines without seeking permission from B, B has a right to go and stop A. So if you look at this example, if you have a patent, what you get is a right to stop somebody. It is not a right for you to go and practice your invention. It might not give you a right to go and practice your invention, but definitely it gives you a right to stop someone. So I talked about two things, probably three things. I talked about flavors of intellectual property and the corresponding rights. And the second thing is, I also talked about the criteria for patentability, which is NUN, novelty, utility, and non-obviousness. And I also talked about the rights of what is the legal right that you get when you have a patent. Next thing I would like to introduce you to is, are patents global in nature? What it means is, what this question means is, if you have a patent in India, is it applicable throughout the world, right? The answer is no, because the legal rights are specific to a country. Patent law is a sovereign act of the government of India. So if a patent is granted under the patent law of India, then these rights are applicable only in India. So if you think that your markets are probably 4 countries, US, Europe, India, and China, then you need to go get a patent protection in each of these countries. There is no global patent, right? There is no global patent. If you have a patent in India, you can only enforce it in India. For your invention, if you go get a patent in India, US, and Europe, you cannot get a patent in China, then somebody can practice your invention in China. You don't have a right, so you cannot enforce it. You cannot stop somebody practicing this invention in China. But if this Chinese manufacturer exports this to India, then you have a right because it infringes on your right, and you can stop somebody from getting this product into India. So at a nutshell, at a very high level, these are some of the concepts that I would like to introduce you to when it comes to intellectual property rights today, right? And theoretically, it looks, okay, patents, rights, all these things. But if you look at the economic value of this, I'll just give you a few examples of the economic value. Google acquired patent portfolio of Motorola at some point in time. And the patent portfolio was valued at $12 billion. $12 billion, right? The patent portfolio of Motorola, which was taken by Google, was valued at $12 billion. So patent, and another classic example is Kodak, right? A camera company, a photographic company, they had lots of patents, but one thing that they did not see is the digital technology coming into photography. And because of that, they lagged the market, and because of this lag, there were losses incurred by Kodak. At some point in time, what they realized is, okay, we have a fantastic portfolio, and they started selling their portfolio, right? And they started making revenues out of selling the patent portfolio. So these are some of the examples which can be used to protect yourself from the competition. Another important thing that is very relevant to India is aiming to become one of the leaders in 6G, right? We missed the bus in 3G, 4G, and most probably 5G. 5G also, we are implementers. But if you have to take a lead position in 6G, getting patents in this particular area, wireless domain, especially cellular technology, is really important. And many of the developed countries have played this game. If they want to become leaders in technology, if they want to protect their markets, if they want to get revenue, they have always played this game of getting patents related to standards, right? So it is really, really important for India to go play the 6G game by having a rich portfolio of standard essential patents. These are some of the highlights that I wanted to introduce you today, introduce you to these concepts. I don't want to overburden you with a lot of legal concepts and patents. I would stop here, and I would be more than happy to take questions. Thank you.
So we will have the Q&A post the next speaker. I request Sandesh sir to please come over the dais and honor the guest. Sandesh sir, call for you. I request Sandesh sir to please come over the stage and honor the guest. Sandesh sir. I request Geeta Kiran ma'am to please felicitate Dr. S.K. Murthy. A big round of applause to Dr. S.K. Murthy. Satyesh sir, please join.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Bani. Hello. I couldn't sum it up because of...
ಸರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್? ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. Put it back. Check.
In fact, because of the Mikasura problems, I couldn't, give my final words of thanks to Dr. Murthy. Dr. Murthy, in just 15 minutes you could explain so beautifully patents and IP, and I'm sure that the students will have a lot more questions. In fact, I have a lot more questions which I'm going to sit with you after the session.
Slide.
Thanks once again for
Slide up.
coming and sharing your experiences with us. I think we now move to the final and a round of applause to Dr. Murthy, please. We come to the final session. I invite Sri Virendra Shetty to come on stage. This is another podcast that's going to be put in front of you.
Thank you.
I would give a brief profile of Sri Virendra. He was there in the morning also in the Shark Tank with us, but I would once again, I have the pleasure of introducing him to all those who are come in only for this session. Yeah. So, Viren is going to, please take your seat, I think. Viren is going to talk today on the subject of health tech software innovations driving the future of digital healthcare. Very interesting subject because the term digital healthcare is very new to me, and I don't know in the audience if anybody has heard this word. So I'm very curious to go through this podcast and understand a little bit more on that. But as an introduction, if I'll have to share my initial thoughts on the subject, see, when we were children, right, say about 50, 55 years back, I think by telling that I'm giving out my age, but nevertheless, 50, 55 years back, we used to go to the hospital. We had our good old physician who used to ask a couple of questions and then give us medicines, and it worked well. But today, the hospitals are a very complicated place, which not many people understand, but thanks to all the advances that has happened in the technology space and in the medicine space, I believe that the technology that has happened, in the medtech space probably far exceeds the advances that has actually happened in the field of medicines. I don't know. I would like Virendra to comment on that. But with that very brief introduction to say that we are talking about a field like med technology, where we are talking about technology that is applicable to the medical field. My first question, Virendra, is, we all have a lot of health problems, right?
I have a presentation slide is also there.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll move through that. Is that okay?
You don't want this?
Yeah, questions. We'll go through the presentation at the end if there is time.
Okay. So Virendra would like to go through his presentation, and then we will combine all the questions along with the audience questions at the end. Yeah. Over to you. Thank you.
How much time is there? How much? Yes, sir. 12 minutes, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay. 12, 15, 15:45. Good afternoon, everybody. Can't hear. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everybody. Louder. So after lunchtime, I think I have a task of keeping myself awake and also you guys. Great. So I'm very honored to be here. Two reasons. One is being an alumnus of MCA. It's always so pleasant and glad to be in these functions. Second is both my good friends Satyan and Satyesh. So truth was calling. So I had to be with them. Thank you so much for making me come over here. Just a quick joke from MCA alumnus arena. So people called me, I was the top student in MCA. So every year I used to get a merit incentive in all the subjects. I lived with the seniors. When I came from outside, I lived with seniors. So they had a very different characteristics. Most of them stayed there for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. So they always tell me, so we are paying fees, all the fees you are taking as a merit incentive. So that was the kind of joke which was running in MCA. With that, let me come back to the subject. So health tech or health care is a $12 trillion market today. So various aspects of health goes into that. So my topic today is specifically on the software side. So what is the software innovation that has happened and what is going to come in, which is going to drive the future of digital health? So I'll be very brief today because I think I assume all of you know about software, so I will not dwell deeper into what is it and why is it. So quickly give the scope and impact of software that is presenting. And let me get into the experiential example. So I've been into healthcare. I was fortunate enough to get into healthcare. Actually, I declined my medical seat and went into engineering. But healthcare did not stop me. It called back. But I always used to give an example, says that being a medical doctor, maybe thousands of patients or people I would have touched, but with the technology, I'm touching millions of people. So thank you for that, and thanks to MZ for developing me that way. So I'm going to give an experiential example where I myself engaged in doing this product. So healthcare, the medicine has evolved a lot. I think a lot of clinical inventions, biotechnology inventions that have happened over the years. And one of the important things that has happened is the medical imaging. That is in 1895, which resulted in the entrance of software into this field. Of course, if you look at one field where technology has helped in the better life is this. From 1900 to till here, the life expectancy is doubled. It's 70 years. Then why do you want to invest in healthcare? Do we want to increase that to 140? Probably not. But what we want to do is improve the quality of health, the quality of life. So that's what we want to do, right? So with that, what is coming up? Definitely what is coming up in the area of health tech is digital health, miniaturization, and biotech. These are the three fields who are going to significantly influence the future of health. Very, very big topic. Actually, 15 minutes is very, it will be a challenge to talk about that. But to give you an idea, what is health tech in terms of software and hardware that goes into that, and this is one slide which encompasses everything, and this is where both hardware, software, everything goes into this. So I had an opportunity to work on the more bio and medical technology intensive topic, that is especially on the diagnostic cycle. So the examples that I give probably attached to that, I may not be able to give all the examples. Be with them. So can you tell me what is this? Anybody in the audience? Anybody? X-ray, yeah. So this is the X-ray, first ever X-ray machine. Okay, that was, I had the opportunity to work there in that place. That is the Wilhelm Röntgen, started this in Germany. So if you look at this equipment, there is no software at all. This is purely mechanical and electrical. Okay. I later had an opportunity to lead a design of this particular X-ray system, which is nothing but full of software. So you can see that. So you can see the output there in the first X-ray image output, what we got, and the output that you get here. It is driven by software. So software has become an invisible item to core, catalyst, and critical today. It is not just that driving something, it's a very critical part of that. So what's happened? So in any area like automobile, television, medical devices, home appliances, the percentage of technology that goes inside these devices is software today. So medical devices are leading that, when close to 90% of what goes into the system is software today. And that's what is creating innovation. So I will skip this for the interest of time. What are the types, like any other software technology or software architecture, even in healthcare, these are the types of software. For example, it can be distributed completely, or it can be Internet of Things, the latest one, or it can be an enterprise software, or it can be cloud-based, or it can be hybrid, or it can be embedded. We started with embedded pretty much. That's what I said, it was invisible initially. So now it is on device as well. So these are the types of software systems from a deployment architecture point of view. The spread of software across health tech product and portfolio. So in every area of health tech, the software is there today. So this is how, if you subdivide the software architecture into subsystems, this is what happens really. So you have embedded software, communication software, middleware, then the applications, databases, user interface, control software, device drivers, and algorithms. So these are the various subsystem software that goes into any product. One or many of them may be there in any device. So with that introduction, let me just get into a, experiential examples. So how software side innovation has helped in the healthcare. So these are the four examples I'm giving. So fortunately, I had the opportunity to work on all these four in my career. The first of it is called Medical Imaging and Application Platforms. I was the founder architect of this when I was in Siemens. So great platform. So what happened here? What is the impact, outcome? The outcome is that US dollar 1 billion R&D savings have happened just because of this. It's purely software, nothing else. And because of this, a totally new way of working has evolved. It is called application anywhere and anytime. The second one is nothing but oncology care. This is a linear accelerator. I have a picture later. So in this, what happened is a new clinical treatment method got evolved due to the invention or the idea of software that went in. The third one is a software-only product. It's just a software. There was a device existing, a software-only innovation has been done. And I'm fortunate that I'm one of the idea holder there in this, which resulted in increased sales of original device. The fourth one, as you all know, a lot of algorithms are coming up, specifically the generative AI, where you can see the unseen through the software. So this is the first example. I call this as a multimodality advanced visualization app software platform. What is the innovation here? Innovation is very simple. So when I was in Siemens, it had 12 divisions within the healthcare, 12 separate companies, each one of them producing their own MR, CT, ultrasound, special products, nuclear medicine, all that stuff. So what we did is that if you look at the physics is only different in these devices, but beyond physics it's the same. It is acquiring data, processing data, and displaying those. So we thought of putting them into a single bundle and creating one single platform. So that's it. So that's what has created innovation, and almost all the companies in the world are trying to follow this and copy this today. And this resulted in doing a data management in one place, putting the workstation in one place, and ability to do a teleradiology today, so due to this platform. The second one is, so I had the opportunity to lead a hardware development for a linear accelerator. This is the radiation therapy, surgery-less cancer treatment. So the hardware, very huge, heavy investment, hardware was there. What is the innovation that can we do? If I have to do an innovation in the hardware side, I have to totally create a new hardware, impossible. It will take years to gather, at least 10 years. So what we did is, there was a method called step and shoot technologies. When a tumor had to be burned, the linear accelerator will move towards that, and it will shoot, step it, move next, shoot, step it. It will take long time to burn the tumor. Very simple idea we got is that, why is that way? Let me have a window-based work. It will move towards together, and simultaneously it will shoot the X-rays, and it will be faster. And this was done. You didn't have to do anything in the hardware. It's just by a software innovation in the embedded side. Yeah. So this is third one. So medical ultrasound, live remote scan control. So again, I think the companies that I worked is more hardware driven, right? We used to sell boxes. What is that we can do in software side is always a question. So what we did is, this is again, I'm very glad to say that this is the idea that is started in Bangalore actually, to be frank. This is a world product today. So we tried to connect multiple of ultrasound system through a software mechanism where ultrasound system can be controlled from anywhere and diagnosed, or it can also be diagnosed from anywhere. Of course, for legal purpose, we can't allow that. That's why we come with the use cases called e-consultancy, e-collaboration, training, and demo. So this is another purely software. There's nothing hardware here. So this is again, so this is the today, as Rangnath said, right? So we used to use computer vision technologies or computer vision algorithms earlier, and it was so hard. So today, most of the things I can do with the AI, for example, whether it is denoising, so getting a better MR image, or making a fusion of multimodality or images into single, or making a proper segmentation irrespective of the type of the object behind that, or even to create, right? I have an MR image, I can do a generative AI, that is, I can create totally so that it becomes a realistic. So most of us, I think, except doctors, most of us don't understand what is that, right? For example, I can generate a realistic image out of that, which looks exactly like what you see, right? So with that, I'm just giving you, this has happened already, right? This itself is a huge innovation in the software side. Many people follow this today. So what's coming in? There are a lot of latest experimental innovations that are happening. So this is the Google's, the DeepMind. It's called AlphaFold platform. So this is where they generated the protein structure. If you recall, 2024 Nobel Prize went in for the protein structure, computational protein design. So this is one of that actually. So they collaborate with the Google to get this done. So in that way, drug discovery has reduced significantly from 10 years to less than a year time frame. So this is
Neuralink starts with a surgeon drilling a hole in your head about the size of a coin. Then a robotic arm carefully inserts the ultra-thin, flexible threads into your brain. These threads are finer than a strand of hair and are equipped with electrodes that directly interact with the cells in your brain.
not far. So this is the ongoing thing that is happening. And third is the 3D printing. 3D printing as a technology, all of us know. But today what I'm talking about is a regenerative printing, right? The bio-tissue generation through a 3D printing mechanism is already happening. So this is the new that's coming in. It's interesting. So this is called capsule endoscopy. Those who have undergone endoscopy procedure, you would know. So they would put a optical camera inside the throat, and that will take images and videos out of that. It's very painful. It's ugly, right? And of course, it helps in the diagnosis of so many cancer diseases throughout your bronchi and stomach. But then, so we are already talking about a camera pill, a pill camera, very small camera, which you take it as a pill, and it can go inside, and it can take the images and videos out and stream the video. So these are the last two slides. Okay? Yeah. So digital twin, most of you are hearing today. So what is the significance of digital twin in healthcare? So I just have a short video from Siemens here.
We think patient twinning could be a key component in a number of pioneering breakthroughs in healthcare. Why? Well, because it could help sick people get back to their normal lives in the shortest possible time. Or ideally, it could prevent people from getting sick in the first place. We know that sounds like a big dream, but let's take a look at how it might actually work. Of course, it's all about data. A patient twin will be constructed from a person's long-term medical history and their digital patient record. Data from medical exams and sensors like wearable devices will update this information by providing medical and lifestyle data in real time. AI algorithms will continuously match this data with comparable data sets. They will create simulations, for example, on the patient's future health status.
So I'll stop here. So digital twin is in the making today. So what does that mean? Basically earlier, of course, if you look at AI model, you do an AI model for a specific function. We are thinking of creating a model for an entire human, starting with several organs, right? Instead of experimenting on the real organ, you experiment on the twin organ. So these experiments are already happening, and we are in this phase from, so what is? This is driven exactly by software innovation. So with that, so this is the next move. Next gen micro devices are coming into picture. So we are talking about care health. Now we are talking about preventive health. So in the case of preventive health, the new era wearable sensors are going to increase, right? That is going to have micro software inside each sensors, and that's where is the next revolution is going to happen. So technology-based sensors, on-device compute. So sir talked about the GPU in the large servers. Now we are talking about that kind of computation. How can you bring it in a very, very small chip? So that's the idea out there. And of course, I call it as a micro software services. So with this, so last word from my side is train the mind and keep up the human interaction. So with this technology, where would we go in the health, right? It's important to, as Einstein said, You still need to keep a human interaction, so don't be a fool getting dragged into complete technology. And of course, we learn this to train our mind and not just get the facts. The facts can be collected today from ChatGPT or elsewhere. And of course, technology and tradition can coexist. So with that, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. A big round of applause.
Sir,
So
any
we will have a
questions
quick
there?
Q&A session. I request Satyesh, sir, to please take over. Okay, before that, we'll have the felicitation of Virendra, sir. I request Sandesh, sir, Gopal, sir, to please come over the stage and honor Virendra Shetty, sir. I request principal to please join them.
Thanks, Virendra.
Thank you.
This session, yeah.
ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಆನರ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೊ ಮಚ್.
I request Dr. Murthy and Mr. Rangnath also to join us on the stage, and Mr. Virendra to stay back. Virendra, if you can stay back. We have a few questions from the audience. We just want to, probably one at least for session. The first question from the audience, in fact, they have not written their name. It is from, question is for Mr. Rangnath. It says, if we use AI in predicting the trends in stock, okay. So we had expected this question. They want to know
Predicting
if AI is predicting trends in stock market, how much of it?
Well, I think, that's a good question. The stock market is a random, there are a lot of theories which are very popular. I'm sure you already heard it. There is a famous book called Random Walk Through Wall Street. I encourage everybody to read it. Essentially, it says that if you bring a chimpanzee, and blindfold that chimpanzee and put all the stocks on a wall and ask the chimpanzee to throw darts and pick up those stocks, right? That stock is going to do better than most of the portfolio managers. This is actual experiment, right? So I think if stock market is as unpredictable as that, it is such a random thing, AI can do some analysis, but at the same time, it continues to be random. But what it can do is really send you some alerts, show you some trends, show you some patterns. Finally, stock market is all about patience. Stock market is all about good research. Stock market is all about investing in companies with good governance. I think you can't escape these three things.
Absolutely. We have another question. This is for Dr. Murthy. What's the best way to secure IP rights for a global audience if my startup is international?
When startup is
International.
Okay.
Yeah, you explain.
If you are planning to secure international rights, first thing that you need to look at is where your markets are. If my market is in India, if my market is US, and if my market is Europe, please go get a patent there in these geographies. There are 197 countries or 200 countries. You cannot go get patent in, irrespective of the value of your invention, irrespective of how incredible your invention is, you will not be able to get patents in all these 200 countries because that is not financially viable. So please pick your markets, first thing. Then pick who your competitors are, where they are playing, second thing. Third thing is look at the GDP of the country and the legal ecosystem of the country. That is the fourth thing. If you take these four things into consideration, I think you will have covered at least 90% of your markets, which is good.
Very similar to product certifications, I think patents are also very country specific. We have another question this time for Mr. Virendra. Algorithms, how does it help in healthcare or health tech?
So algorithms in any deep health tech, right? So earlier if you see in the software side, people used to do just the user interface, right? Today algorithm can help get an insight into the data. For example, the example that I given in imaging example, right? In the imaging example, so the device that gets the image is a very vast. You can't apply a standard logic out there, right? So you develop an algorithm to extract features out of that image and try to manipulate those features. So this is what is the algorithms. This is where, so today whenever I go to engineering colleges, people used to say we are studying mathematics. Why? So mathematics becomes the core of this. Don't forget that. It becomes the core of that. I think many people today also taking computer science, they say that I take computer science because I don't have to study mathematics. No. So that becomes the base of that, and this is where the algorithm, you can do great things. So where you can get insight from the data, you can see the unseen, especially in the imaging information, and create great clinical outcomes through that.
Yeah, thanks. The next question is again to Mr. Rangnath. This is a very futuristic question. It says, what is likely to be the next big thing after AI? AI has to answer.
Only AI can tell that. I'm sure AI will have that answer. What is the next big thing after AI? But I can, after listening to Mr. Shetty's presentation, I think the healthcare, and can healthcare do such wonders to kind of extend the longevity, and of course, they ever dream of kind of reversing the aging process. Can all of us become again 18-year-olds? I think that is the next one. I think healthcare has potential to do that.
I would have loved to take this as the takeaway and end, but I have two more questions. This question is for Mr. Virendra. It says, when will AI start getting into healthcare and start performing surgeries?
So the assisted, so I always say AI should be an assisted one. It's an assisted AI. So that's why you say, you hear words like AI assistant, co-pilot. The automated surgery is already there today. But how AI is going to help is definitely to perform better in that space. So it is going to happen. Again, I'm cautioning that it is not a 100% automated surgery, and none of us want that. So it is a supervised surgery, but with the help of clinicians or physicians out there, and it's already coming in. So most of the surgery devices today is enabled by algorithms. Now AI is going to definitely help to do that better. Yeah, because it can learn. So how physicians do their surgery, because they learn, right? First time may not be that perfect. The second time, third time, fourth time, 100th time, they are much better. So advantage of AI in doing surgery is that actually it can collect data and it can learn from that and it can improve the outcome of the surgery gradually. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have one final question. This is to Dr. Murthy. How expensive is the process of taking a patent in India, and how much time does it take?
Okay. When it comes to cost, there are two factors. One is the patent office fee. Patent office fee has different categories. If you are a startup, then there is a particular fee for startups. If you are a multinational company or organizations, then you have a separate fee for these organizations, which is definitely higher as compared to that of startups. Actually, patent office fee is one factor, but when you are looking at patent applications, preparation of a patent application, which is a techno-legal document, needs to bring value to it. And for drafting or for preparing one patent application, which could be like 50-page document, the price varies from 50,000 to 6.5 lakhs per patent application. So that is the attorney fee, wherein the attorney drafts your patent application, which will give you a very broad scope for your invention. That is the first part of the question. Second part, in India, probably 5-6 years back, it used to take 7 to 8 years for a patent to be granted from the date of filing. But there have been several positive modifications done to the patent office. Just to give you an example, at one point in time, we had only 110 patent examiners. Today, we have 850 patent examiners, and probably it will become 2,500 patent examiners in near future. And proportionately, the time has come down for grant of patents. Earlier, it was 7 to 8 years. Now it is getting granted in 3.5 years. And that is also technology dependent. Some technologies are crowded, some technologies are not as crowded as the other ones. So it depends on that, but you can roughly take it as 3.5 years.
Thanks a lot. And with that, we come to the concluding session of the Tech Talk. I once again, on behalf of Malnad College of Engineering and the MEIA, profusely thank Dr. Murthy, Sri Ranganath, and Virendra. The two of them are alumni. We hope that you had a very interesting session, and all the three gentlemen will be available for some more time, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to go talk to them. It would be a great pleasure for them to share their knowledge further with you guys. So we are going to call this session to a close.
So
and thanks
thank you,
a lot
sir.
for all your patience.
So before we call off the session, we have a word of gratitude from Medha Shankari, student member of ME-RIISE Foundation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Medha, a student member of ME-RIISE Foundation. On behalf of MC and ME-RIISE Foundation, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on this momentous occasion. As we come to the close of this Tech Talk event, I am struck by how quickly time has passed. This enriching experience was made possible by the creative efforts of many, and I would like to take a few moments to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contributed to its success. First and foremost, I extend my deepest thanks to our esteemed speakers, MD Ranganath, for sharing insights through a podcast that broadened our perspective. SK Murthy for sharing deep insights on intellectual property. Virendra Shetty for his compelling and thought-provoking podcast and also about software innovations. Your enlightening and inspiring thoughts on technology have left us a lasting impression on all of us. We are deeply grateful for the knowledge and ideas you have generously shared. I would also like to express my gratitude to our moderator, Satyesh Bellur, for skillfully steering the discussions, ensuring they remain engaging and impactful. A special note of thanks goes to Dr. Geeta Kiran A., CEO of the ME-RIISE Foundation and our convener, whose exceptional dedication has been instrumental in bringing the event to fruition. Additionally, I would like to acknowledge the entire team of MC and the dedicated fraternity of Snehada Kadalu 2024 for their incredible efforts in setting up the stage and making this happen. To the participants, volunteers, and organizing committee, your enthusiasm and commitment have been invaluable in making this gathering truly remarkable. Before I conclude, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking idea shared during one of our discussions. In the fast-paced world of technology, it's not just about keeping up with the latest advancements, but also about questioning how we can use these innovations to create a better future for all. Let's carry this mindset forward as we continue to learn and grow together. Finally, to everyone present here, thank you for your support and for being an integral part of this event. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining the two incredible events as we pull up the curtains for Sneha the Kadulu 2024. I request everyone